committee of the whole agenda. And I'm going to, as I said, call the meeting to order. I'm going to do roll call. Councilor Peter. Councilor George.
Here.
Deputy Warden Matthew.
Here.
Councilor Jones. Here. And we have two regrets of Coralie Ross, our manager of corporate services, and Tyler Foley, our deputy CAO. But we do have our CAO Jeff and our executive assistant Taylor here. So on saying that, we will pause to seek guidance, please. All right, the next is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
I motion to approve the agenda. October 3rd.
Is there a seconder? Okay. And I keep being warned that I can't be heard well, so I get this close today. There are no presentations or delegations. So the minutes of October the 8th, is there any errors or omissions anyone saw?
I'll move the approval of the minutes of October.
And is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is our CAO report. And just a reminder, today we're doing committee of the whole, bylaw and policy. On the 19th, we are doing council. On the 26th, it is the provincial election day, and there will be no meeting, and for some of us, we will be at the NSFM. On December the 3rd, there's a bylaw and policy. December the 10th will be the committee of the whole, and followed by the audit committee. On the 17th, 24th, 31st, there are going to be no meetings in December, and on January the 7th, there is no meeting. Now, we always check if does anyone really want to meet Christmas Eve or making sure that we've got two senses here.
You have the 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's even better. We like to make the staff feel appreciated. The next is our CAO update. Is there anything, I know we have all the highlighted. I think the one thing I want to highlight now is the February 20th and 21st. We'll be having our strategic planning session.
So you will be getting emails from us on that as well this week. So the timelines aren't nailed down exactly in that, but we're going to send out invites for you to get that blocked in your calendars. So yeah, and I'll be talking about that slightly more as well on policy. But yes, nope, that is a key one.
And the other is the fire service review is already starting. And the fire chiefs have all been notified of the review starting. The Equity and Anti-Racism Act, the Deputy CEO will be providing an overview of this required work at the December 3rd bylaw and policy meeting. The Accessibility Act, there is no update. Rural Internet cell coverage, no update. Now, under the regular administrative duties are all listed, and there are other meetings. So under the department reports, the manager or municipal services monthly report, was there any questions or concerns on her report? The corporate services report, any questions or concerns? Airport dispatch, which is the airport report and the dispatch call report. Yeah.
Back on the building reports, is the upgrade open
For which?
for the building?
Oh, for our building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the only thing left is a few small, so the contract is done. Norm just has a few IT things to make each room fully functional with the TVs and the setup like we normally use. And we've ordered the table and chairs will be here for the new room. We're lucky before Christmas. But, yeah, so the contractor's all good. The bathroom is fully in service, and there were some challenges with that. They'd hit the floor piping with the install of the last toilet. So they made it through all that work to get into the bathroom and the floor cut that was planned. And one of the very last things they were doing, they hit that. So that's what slowed down the washroom opening. But nope, all complete.
Okay, the coordinator program development report. Renewable energy and climate change coordinator report. Trail coordinator report. No questions? Okay.
Everybody's busy.
So,
Good reports.
yes, I sometimes don't know how they get the reports in. Now, on saying that, could I have a motion to accept the department reports, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
There's a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is under dangerous and unsightly premises, 904 Riverview Road, Bear River. Could we ask for our building inspector, Kathy Barr, to come forward?
I will motion that Kathy Barr come forward to present.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Thank you. As the administrator of dangerous or unsightly, I'm requesting that council approve an order for the demolition of the abandoned dwelling located at 904 Riverview Road, Bear River. As you can see in your packages that you received, the pictures of the dwelling, the situation that it's in. This has been an ongoing issue that was dealt with back in 2015, and it is in extreme disrepair. There is one on this picture here. You can see where it's starting to bow in. And with any snow, the weight of the snow or winds, this building is going to come down. I took a measurement. It's 20 feet from the closest property, their dwelling, 20 feet from that. It is in serious disrepair. Financially, with the amount of work that would need to be done to fix all the repairs, it would result in a substantial cost. And I'm asking that council approve the order to demolish it.
Any questions?
There's no plan with the property owners or nothing. It's just disregarded.
I have made all effort to contact the property owners. Nothing. I've asked for an engineer's letter stating if it could be fixed in their forms, engineers provide forms. I never received anything back.
So could we?
Are these,
Just wanted to answer some additional information. So the ownership of this property is very complex. So the legal owners are both deceased, and to date, the paperwork for a responsible party has not been produced. There is a surviving family member that has been in touch with the municipality over this, but they are not present, and they are well aware of the situation. No, you probably should explain that.
Okay. I cannot answer. We cannot take any questions or comments from the gallery. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask if I could speak, no?
No, you're not allowed. You to have done that, you would have had to come to the municipality in advance.
Oh, I didn't know, sorry.
Okay, so.
I have a question. Why would
No, Peter, you can't ask. Oh, you're asking Kathy?
Yes.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay. So why would we not demolish it?
Why would we not?
Yes. What would argue in favor of non-demolition?
I see there is no argument in not demolishing. I honestly, it's not fixable. If it is, the cost would be substantial. I don't enter these buildings, and I wouldn't enter that because that's not safe. It appears that from that wall, it appears that maybe the floor has been taken out or any support walls, and that's why it's bowing in. There's no support in there too.
In 2015, it was supposed to be.
Was anything done?
Update.
In 2015, there was a covering put on the well, and the shrubbery outside around the house was fixed, and they did some repairs under the little cantilever out front. They just put a couple little posts there. But no one's been living in this house for a long period of time. No work has ever been done to maintain it. And the roof, you can see where it's open. There's animals living in there. Yeah. And it's just, like I say, it's just a matter of time that comes down. And when it comes down, it's going to hit the neighbor's property, which is 20 feet away.
I'll make a motion to demolish 904 Riverview Road to Bear River.
And do we have so many days?
Yeah, it's just to say,
That was like just.
we're not quite there yet.
Okay,
We
all right.
need to have that conversation.
Yeah, I would like to ask, so two things about this, the cost, who's gonna pay for the demolition, and secondly, I guess the debris from the demolition, what's the plan for that?
Okay. What normally happens is if it's been approved to be demolished, I get quotes, at least 2 quotes, so we can get the best deal. That has to be taken to approved landfill site. It's put on it's a lien against the property owner, so it's applied to your taxes. And that's how we.
The only thing I would add is we give the owner a chance.
Right.
So what council will be discussing next is how much time we give the owner. If the owner doesn't do it, then the municipality steps in with the process as Kathy outlined, that we get quotes, it goes on their taxes, it goes to, no matter who's taking it down, it's monitored and goes to proper landfills. But that's why the municipality generally hesitates some to answer your earlier question. So we don't do very many demolitions a year, and we do take it quite seriously because the costs escalate quite significantly and end up being a lien on the taxes.
They also submit to me the tipping fees to the approved landfill sites that they're taking it to, so I know that it is going to approved landfill.
Will not end up with the property
Yeah.
debris on top of it.
No, there is a foundation that's to be backfilled in, the land is to be leveled in. Cleared.
So I'm gonna ask you, 60 days, 90 days, which do you think?
I like to see it as soon as possible, but
30 days?
I would go with 50. Because I have to get the contractors, I have to rely on them when they can do it.
Yep.
So as soon as if I get the order passed, then I'll contact the contractors tomorrow, see when they can do it, so.
I'll make a motion that the 50 days that the demolition order be made on 904 Riverview Road, Bear River.
I will second that motion.
It comes in effect today. For 50.
Oh, okay. For 50 days.
Just want to make sure that it's clear. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Thank you. The next is committee and board's confirmation.
So this was just everyone, we hope you had a chance to take a look at the list. We cross-referenced it against the 4 of us. We're all taking notes as well. There's just a lot of moving parts that night. But that's as I believe we've confirmed it. Those are, as everyone had understood.
Yep.
Right, so your contact information has been given out to, I think, every organization on that list. Taylor's nodding yes, if not, I think, I know. So you will start to get invites and contacts for those meetings. Feel free to reach out with any questions if there's any challenges with that, but that was just to confirm that that's what everybody had understood.
Okay. And the next is the Digby Neck and Islands Food Bank Community Grant Request. Bill, I can pull this up.
Sorry, I keep forgetting the number. So yeah, they're asking for $5,000. You saw their letters of support, the information. It's a relatively complete package. The remaining balance in grants to organizations is $16,945.
You down to the food bank, Peter?
No, not yet. But I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
I spoke with Digby. It's related to things.
Do we use any food banks?
Not a lot. We gave to the Digby Food Bank 3 years ago.
Yeah, the Digby Food Bank would be our a very sporadic requester. We have been involved again occasionally with this food bank in the past in some ways. Yeah, this food bank has gone through, I think it's fair to say, 10 years of evolution of different organizations that we've worked with. But as you saw from the letters of support, the home now has worked well for it. It is a key part of the food supply in that community.
Is this the one David organized?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Due to his change in roles, he was able to sign one of these for the first time in 14 years. So, yeah.
Well, food security is an issue. I'm sure as we go through strategic planning, it's going to come up. I looked at it. I know they've got volunteer hours in lieu of $27.50. Looking at it, I'm just worried we don't have a lot. We still have the April, and I think we have some other organizations that are going to need some assistance. We probably have Friends of Farrell coming back. I don't want to cut ourselves short. I would make a motion to do $3,500. I mean, it's food security. I don't want to give too less, but I don't know. I don't want to cut short at the end. There's more asks coming than another coming. So 3,500 would be good.
The question I want to ask it, everyone's aware of the importance of this food bank in the area, right? There's food security is a big issue in this district. But removing ourselves from the specific local issue, I would ask, how much does 5,000 represent in regards to the total budget, and how does
We have $16,000 left in our budget.
16,000
right now.
We have a special
Community grants.
Community grants. Community food.
Yes, right, but in which span of time do we have this 16?
Well, until April 1st. That's what we have. And we have already told Friends of Farrell to please reapply, because we just couldn't afford to give them what they asked.
And we do anticipate hearing from them, but I just also would be clear their initial message was all or nothing. Which won't come out of that. Yes. So we are continuing conversations to see if they have a change in that view, but the initial 3 conversations that we've had since that meeting, that has been maintained as their view.
I have another, putting things in perspective question. How much does food banks align with our strategic vision? Like, I guess we have something to guide us. What's
No, it's not in our strategic vision.
Yeah, so,
No.
so food banks weren't in the vision last time. So this one has been there for 10 years, and generally is relatively self-supportive. Even in the past, when they've looked for help, it's been smaller amounts. I think what changed in this one is in that first paragraph or second. The Caledonia, one of their suppliers changed.
David did well.
Yeah,
Food. Feed Nova Scotia is just not coming through. That's one of the things I think we're going to bring up as strategic planning. It's a provincial matter, it's a provincial entity, but they're not here in Digby, and that's a question we got to figure out.
Yeah.
And that's why we're getting these requests. I get them, Linda gets them.
And this time of year has always been a challenge for this food bank, as explained. The before lobster season, after tourism season, this one tends to have a bit of a challenge.
And then, lobster season comes in and they seem to do better in November, December.
And it helps pick up their donation. It helps some of the users and it helps with their donations, right? I did want to just go back. So, were you saying you making a motion, or you were thinking about making a
Oh
motion?
no, I'll make the motion for
Okay.
3,500.
I'm sorry, I went back.
No, it's okay.
Is there a seconder for that?
Before we second that motion.
No, we either second it or we lose it, and then we discuss it. You can always vote against it. That was like the other day when you were in, so is there a seconder for this motion?
No second.
Okay, now continue.
All right. So we took the information that I just looked here. I have a few thoughts about this. One is, food security is an issue all over Nova Scotia, right? So I think if it's not included in our strategic planning, it should be. So that's a suggestion moving forward. The second thing is, this specific food bank has been struggling in some conversations, so I think it's some kind of help is warranted. We should support this. We already mentioned seasonality rate and we should supply all this. So I would support the motion to support them, and the amount is to be determined. The third point is, we just had the Friends of the Feral Cat Society request $50,000. We offered them 10. They declined it.
No.
They say it's all or nothing.
No, it didn't happen. The motion was made and it was lost. The motion was lost.
Which means in this case.
That means that 2 voted for it, 2 voted against it, so it's lost. You
Okay,
cannot.
so it's not that they refused.
Oh, no. We didn't give it to them, right?
Well, so they.
If I could.
Okay.
So in these conversations, that's what has happened.
Yeah.
Right. So that's in my conversations with them in trying to bring this back. That's what they have said, that $10,000 won't work. That they need 50 or nothing.
Oh, okay.
And that's why I'm saying we need ideally some sort of other option to present to council with the funds we have at play, or we will continue to be challenged by that amount. So I have another meeting with them this week to try and see if there's a difference.
So the conclusion of this is we were willing to give $10,000 to the feral cats, and we're struggling here to give 5, perhaps lowering to 3,500 to a food bank.
You don't, it's each thing as it comes in, you look at it. This was for the trying to keep the cats, to get them neutered, to get them off food, and then put them back out again after they've had a few days.
Yes.
It's totally different than the food bank.
Well, it is totally different, but it competes for the same resource. And so, given the same resource, which one contributes more to the.
You cannot look at it that way, Peter. You have to look at each individual. You make your own decision as you're sitting here thinking. I think this is important, it should be this, I think it's this, or whatever. That's the only way you can work, or your heart will be torn. And I'm not, it can be rough and tough. Because there'll be organizations that will come here needing stuff desperately that we can't help for whatever reason.
Yeah, right. But I'm just calling into question how we prioritize things in the council. I think it's important to keep that in mind. I'm not saying that we should go for the 5.
It would have to be a lost motion to go higher. It would have to be the motion would have to be defeated.
I'm not asking for this. No, what I'm mentioning here is more of a rhetorical device for us to think about how we make decisions about these things moving forward. Right? I don't think, given that we have 16K, I think it's reasonable, 3,500 for this. I'm not saying that we should go all the way to 5. I think we should change the number. What I'm saying is, as we make those decisions of allocating those resources, we should probably do some consideration of what contributes more to the community.
Well, we will have in February, when we do our strategic plan for those 2 days, then when we do our grants to organizations, we look at that strategic plan as well.
I think, I think what Peter's trying to say, I know what he's trying to say. I think it would help maybe Jeff if he had a copy of our grants organization list that we did, that he can see the challenge of what we have or how many tasks we have for a year. Because you're just coming into it now. We set most of that money aside back in April. We get all our asks at once, and then we do a big round. We spend hours in here arguing back and forth. Like that, but we do. It's a big decision. But I think if you saw that list, you would understand when you get down to 16,000. You go, we got 4 months left. It's like, how do we? I see what you're trying to do is prioritize it. Yeah. And if you saw the bigger picture, you might understand. Right?
It's hard to pit one against the other.
Yeah, that's right. It is.
Say, we give this one 10, we gave that one 10, should we give this one 20? You can't do that because there's too many organizations.
Yeah, there's a lot.
30 or 40 grants that we give. Can't compare one to the other. To go on how badly needed.
What we have.
How
And sometimes the mandate won't allow us to give.
Yeah, exactly.
And that means against the Municipal Government Act, we have rules we're not allowed to do. Like, we couldn't give into a business that was going to put in a toilet for the ferry at their place. We were not allowed because it's a private business. So, even it doesn't matter that it would have been a good thing. The MGA says no. That's all I'm saying. There's things there. Okay, there's been a mover and a seconder to give 3,500 to the Freeport, the Islands Freeport Food Bank. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next is the tax sale. Deputy Warden Nov.
I had a constituent ask me about the policy, the way we do our tax sale now. So, that's Jeff.
Yep. So this one, during COVID, let me say for counselors that were here and for counselors. So pre-COVID, we would have our tax sale in this room.
Yep.
In the 4 years leading up to COVID, we were averaging over 80 to 100 people squeezed into this room to have the tax sale, and it was a live auction, like any auction would work. During COVID, obviously gathering limits, that was not allowed. So municipalities across the province looked at the MGA, worked together, and came up with tendering processes that met the spirit or the wording of the MGA, and allowed us to move forward with still having tax sales, giving people a fair chance to bid on them, and the owners of those properties still the ability to recoup excess funds in the future. All the things that were present in the first system. So we've been doing that since 2021. That's the first tax sale we had under that. So that system has worked very, very well for the municipality. I think part of my discussion on this tonight, or trying to understand, is this something we're looking for a full staff report on? If others had concerns, or what level? I would say it has worked smoother for the municipality. We do not hear, I believe we've only had one official complaint in, and I believe it may be the same complainant as the deputy warden. There were certain advantages where if you were in the room and you had some flexibility on multiple properties, that system helped the bidder if you saw a property that was being undervalued in bidding. This system, you submit a paper bid with what you think that property is worth to you, but the other people may think it is worth more. So we have had, say, more bids. There has been more excess funds under the tendering system. There has been far less administrative problems than there was with the previous systems, right? The logistics of having a tax sale in one room and people trying to approach the counter while the tax sale is on and do things with the properties that are up for sale or about to be, or that has caused issues for a long time. So certainly from a staff perspective, we support the tendering, but I have no problem bringing back a full report, but I need a motion for that level of interest in that. So that was just part of trying to understand what, if we just wanted to help answer a few questions, if you had direct ones, or if it was report level and where the rest of council was.
So
I had no complaints.
So they tender it. What happens to the extra money, the taxes that are owed on it?
So it's the same as in the room, right? If you bid 20,000 extra in the room, the owners have rights after so many years to come back for it. And with the tendering process, it's the exact same.
20 years later, they come back and it.
No, they only have so many years to get their property, or so many months to get your property back.
He's talking about the excess funds, I believe,
Oh,
not
the
the
excess,
redemption.
sorry.
So it goes back to the original owner.
If there's a process that they have to ask for it to claim. Yeah, but both of those are the same process. That's why the tendering has been embraced by a lot of units, because of it simplifies some of the challenges, and the turnout for these in person. Most units are finding it hard. They've gotten very popular, right? People see this as potentially a cheaper way to obtain land, so they've gotten very popular. So having them in person has gotten hard, and going off-site gets very challenging because you have to have access to your financial system, which is why the tender is embraced over that.
I'm not too familiar with this, so could you give us a quick overview of the mechanics of it? So how does that sales work? And what the choice really is?
So the choice is, so in this version, every property we average somewhere around 15 to 20 properties the last couple of years that actually make it to tax sale. So in this, there's 15, if there was 15, so there's 15 different pieces of paper you can fill out to bid, and you can bid on all 15 still, so the same rights you had in the room, but you've got to put your best bid in for all of them when you're filling out the paper. So sometimes, and I'm just guessing, potentially Deputy Warden Ross's constituent had concerns. You have to prioritize it without knowing what other people are bidding. So if you were someone that was interested in bidding 5, you probably don't want to pay max value for all 5. Where if you were in the room, you could have seen which ones were going for lower amounts and jumped in on bidding or sought opportunities, where this is designed for I think that property is worth $50,000 to me, either because I'm a neighbor or I want to build a home there, and so that's what it's worth to me. So that's the challenge. I think originally people the first year when we had to explain that. So in the room, it's like a live auction. Peter, our lawyer, sits up here, and we get to that same property, and we say, okay, this property, taxes owed are $1,000, and I guess we don't give out paddles, but just shy of the paddles, people raise their hands, and 1,005 or 1,100, and it keeps going until the peak amount is reached. So yeah, then if they're successful, they go out to the front counter, and the paperwork and deposits are processed all in kind of real time. So we've had people bid properties that didn't have money to pay the deposit at the counter, that the property had to be cycled back in real time. Where in the tendering process, the lawyers have all okayed, if you know the first, second, and third bidders, if the first bidder defaults, the second bidder on the list is right there. Our success rate has been higher. Like I said earlier, the amount of revenue received and the problems of different things happening at the front counter when this is going on have all been eliminated.
So if I know we're not allowed this council or anything,
Yep.
but if I bid on or put my tender in, do I still come in or do you call me?
Nope, I call you, we start calling you the next day.
Okay.
It's a big afternoon, normally there's 3 staff members involved to keep it, it's quite an organizational process. To open the tenders, to organize them all, just like you would a regular when we do put tender work out, like we would for sewer work. It's like that, but it's 15 of them in a row, right? And there are people that bid. I don't know that we've seen a year where someone bid all of them, but we have had people bid 10 of the 15, right? Real estate again, COVID was an interesting time to do this. There was a fair bit of real estate speculation in some of those years, and we've had people win 5. And they weren't counting on it, and they back out of 3, right? They have enough money, and then, like I said, we move to the second bidders like you would in a normal tender process. So it's been a more, it may sound like more administration, but it's much smoother administration in controlling the things we want controlled in it. But it definitely is challenging. Like I say, the first year we did it, definitely the bidders that could see if a property wasn't being bid high, they could see that, and if you had some flexibility in your budget, you could gain a lot of properties. And we did see that. We saw, I would say dozens, but numerous people that came to the in-person sales, and they'd leave here with 5 or 6 properties, and that wasn't their original intent when they walked through the door, but the market presented itself, right? Yeah. Redemption and all those things still happen normally. So if your property is sold at tax sale, you've got, give or take, I think it's 6 months that you can come up with the funds yourself and come in and still get it back out. People that bid on it get their money back. That is still happens to a portion of these.
And some of them are non-redeemable after so many years.
After so many years, which we've been pretty good at getting rid of those in this market. The tender process has actually helped with that.
So you don't
The
have
only
a choice.
real difference is that with the tender process, you only get one chance.
You only get one. You've got to come in with your best, what it's really worth to you. And like I say, that's where people looking to buy more than one, it is challenging. I would agree that segment of the population is more affected.
And you don't know what the bids are going against.
That's it, right? So, but it's also, I would say, we would suggest more of the bids are closest to, it's still cheaper than market value, but they are closer to market value in this than extremely low, like we would see some. We've always seen high value properties trigger high value bids, right? It was the middle to poorer properties that in the room in real time, if you have an undeveloped piece of forest land, you can end up with the taxes $500 you're taxing, right? So those ones, people, if it wasn't a neighbor amendment, you could end up with 2 or 3 of those or $2,000 properties, right? In both formats, we've sold properties in excess of $50,000, right? So I've seen it play out bidding wars in the room in person, that the price went up because there was a bidding war, and we've seen it in the tenders where the values are higher because the neighbor really wants it and they don't want to miss that opportunity, right? So
I have never been to a tax sale since I've been on council, just because of, we're not supposed to be here anyway. I was, years ago, before I was councilor, I was to a couple, and I can remember there was a lawyer in the group, when this property went up, he said, just fair warning, this property is trying to fix the, like it belonged to 1,000 people type thing, and they were trying to make it down to 1 acre. So he said, you can bid on it, the person, the property, they're going to redeem it if they don't get their property, just to tell you. And she tried 3 times before she got the property back. I mean, there was like 3 different tax sales before, because people said, oh, well, that's a good property, I'm gonna bid on it anyway, even though she was in the room, but the lawyer was the only one. And that's all she wanted, was just to get a clean, I never forgot that.
Just a point of interest, I know we can't bid on these. What about in another municipality?
Oh, yeah, you
I
can,
go to fair.
any municipality, it's not your own.
And
Yeah.
proceeds of the sale then pay for the taxes and the excess amount goes to the owner.
It goes into a fund.
It goes into a fund that's tracked and reported to the provincial government, and you'll see that tracked in our financial statements.
And then after so many years, you have to write to apply for it. It's not right away.
No, it's not right away. That's it. This is where I'm missing Coralie, that I don't think you have to wait the full 20 years, but 20 years is one of the factors in that situation.
It's a while.
Yeah.
But people can apply and get their access back.
But I think that the real item for discussion here is staff report, or keep moving ahead like we've been doing. It's
Okay. How does everyone feel?
What does that report consist of?
the staff report is a more formalized version of what I've reported, where we'd have the numbers for how many have been sold. It's just with topics like this, it's not in the traditional work plan, so council has to give me authority to then dedicate staff time to generate a report for you. So you'll see occasionally through the year these kind of requests come in, and my discussion with you is this something that I've answered enough of your basic questions? If you want more, then the motion is that you'd like a staff report to come back, and it'll have the facts of how many properties were sold in the 5 years prior, and how many since, and comparing, and like I said, just a more formal report from that department. None of the points will be different than I'm making tonight. But yeah, it's that dedication of staff time is what I need your direction on.
So how do people feel?
Well,
I'm satisfied with the information, but for I've studied some economics, and like in auction versus sealed envelope tenders tend to really the sealed envelope tends to bring prices up, as you mentioned, more aligned with the market value of the properties. And I think this is better just for everyone. So the mechanics of it, it's the choice is basically just right by
George?
I'm okay with the tendering process. Things seem to run a lot better, not less with staff.
So you don't want to report either.
I'm fine with the report.
Matthew?
yep.
Okay, so you do not need to do a formal report. You gave us lots of information, and I really appreciate it. Now, under correspondence information items, there was none. There is no in camera tonight. So what I would like us to do is adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. We're now going to go and get our pictures done.